Welcome back to another episode. And in this episode, it is just myself today. We are doing a solo episode hanging out with your girl, Lisa, and we are going to be going over some astrology today. We're going to be going over the full moon currently that is going on, which, as I'm recording this, it is June 30th, 2026. So we're going to be going over a little bit of the full moon in Capricorn. We're also going to talk about a big transition happening, which is Jupiter moving into a new sign, which is Leo. So we are going to get into it in just a moment, but thank you for being here. And we are missing Desi in this episode. She was not feeling well, so we couldn't record, and we decided that we do want to do some solo episodes. And this is a perfect time for me to share a little bit of astrology that's going on. So stay tuned to the end. I have like a little bit of a not a full horoscope, but it's going to be going through all of the rising signs, what yours might be, and what's going on for this Jupiter and what it might mean for you. So, welcome back. And we're going to get into first, let's talk about the moon. So maybe you're new to astrology, or maybe you read all the horoscopes, or maybe, you just love it so much as like me and just learn all of the things and read all the things, but still maybe don't know all the technicalities. And what I can share is that I just learned, the depth of astrology, and obviously I have a lot more to learn, but I fell in love with astrology and horoscopes back in the day when I was younger. I loved looking them up in magazines and all the things. And I am a Gemini sun. I am a Virgo rising, and I'm also an Aquarius moon. So the reason why it's important to know all three, because now that I know, I went through my courses, that it is called your big three, and it's so important to know all these. So if you do not know your sun, moon, and rising, or if you've never looked up your chart before, I highly, highly recommend, because it is going to give you so much more information. And of course, if you do work with an astrologer eventually, whether it's me or somebody else, or you listen in, you're able to get a much bigger picture and more accurate picture about what is happening in the cosmos that could be actually shifting your life, and you could be working with it instead of against it. So, what I believe, and I'll share maybe like one of the websites, but you can go to like astro.com, Astrology Cafe. There's a couple different ones, but really just look up birth chart. Any website will do, and you just put in your birthday, your full birthday, of course. You put in your time if you know it. And if you don't know it, put noon, because in that way it's just kind of in the middle of the day, and of course things can definitely shift if you don't know, but that is kind of a basic rule that we follow as astrologers. If somebody doesn't know, if I have time, I usually pick a couple different times to see what's going on in the sky that day, and I'm able to kind of talk it through with my client and with the person that I'm reading their chart for, and seeing what resonates the most and how we can kind of expand on the reading that way to make it a little more accurate, unless you're able to actually rectify your birth chart, which is also a possibility as well. So you want to find out these things. You want to find out what the rising sign is, because the rising sign is really important, because it's the sign that actually is on the eastern horizon as the moment that you were born. And the reason this is important is because it basically sets the whole cosmic constellation for the moment of your birth. And that is how most astrologers read horoscopes. I'm going to say majority of them, because some of them can read sun sign ones, but honestly, that's how we depict everything, because it sets up your whole chart. And if you've never seen a birth chart, or never really went to, but I'm going to tell you, basically what it is, it's like a pizza pie, and there's 12 slices, and we have all 12 zodiacs in there. And before I go off too much of topic, because I don't want to make this an astrology full podcast, but just so you have an understanding, is that you do have all signs in your chart. It depends on the moment you were born, where all of the planets were specifically at that moment, and that is literally the picture of your birth chart. So, depending on your placements, you may have a sun and a rising the same, because it's very possible, of course, depending on the time of day, which some people do. And you're one of the possible lucky ones, because you have two elements, and just expands your personality a little bit more, because the sun is, of course, your personality, your life center, and your ego a little bit. And it's really the part of you that is expressed. And And then you have your rising sign, which you kind of tend to become a little bit more later on in life because it's kind of like your soul sign. It's who you kind of become as you were born, and then you become your sun sign because it's like your identity and your ego and what blooms the most. And then you kind of go back to your rising sign. And of course, this isn't for everybody. It depends on what elements you have in your chart and lots of things. But what I want to recommend to you, if you do not know now, you are going to know that I highly recommend if your rising sign is different than your sun sign specifically, you want to start looking at horoscopes through this rising sign because that is going to give you the most accurate timing when you're reading birth chart horoscopes and when you're listening to the like astrologers and anything like that. They're going to be giving you the most accurate information that goes along with your rising sign first. Of course, you can listen to the sun sign. Of course, you can listen to your moon sign as well, because of course things happen there and they're a part of our personality. But your rising sign is most important, in my opinion. So that is why it's important and why we're going to talk about the moon today, because the moon, again, is another important piece of this big three. So your sun sign, when you were born that month, and what zodiac sign you were born in. Yes, it's important and it's part of your personality, but I believe these other couple pieces are also almost as important, maybe a little bit more important in some cases. So your moon sign is important because it is your emotional internal world. It is the piece of you that is emotions. It's a piece of you that is going to be um, basically affected most and the easiest and quickest throughout because the moon actually evolves and shifts signs every 2 to 3 days. And why the full moon is so powerful, we all know this because people are crazy and it's big and it's bright and it kind of gets a little cuckoo. But the moon, just like our bodies, were ruled by the water. So the moon, the tides, of course, get pulled and it pulls the water out of our body when we have the full moon, the new moon. And the new moon is a great time to check in with yourself and it's darker because it's going to be turning into a new moon. And the new moon cycle is a great time to set intentions. And then the full moon 2 weeks later is going to be the time where it's big and bright and it's going to be showing your shadows based on these intentions with no understanding your what you need to release, what you need to surrender, what you need to trust, forgive, because it's going to be aligning with that new moon intention. So allowing yourself to understand this is really important because again, the moon is going to be the most affected because most of us are ruled by our emotions. Most of us feel these shifts, and especially if you are a woman, you are ruled by this 28-day cycle, just like the moon. So if you do have certain signs in your chart and certain elements, you are definitely going to be even more prone to the moon because that's going to really affect you and it's going to really shift your emotions. So if you are Cancer, number one, you are definitely ruled by the moon. And of course, I can go on about your specific chart, but Cancer is definitely one of the ones that you need to pay attention to the moon because it's going to be ruling your emotions day by day. So right now, we have the moon in Capricorn, sorry. The moon is in Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. Cancer is a water sign. But the moon, when it's in Capricorn, you are going to have similar themes like a Capricorn. So you're going to be feeling like you are looking at all of your hard work. Where is your efforts? You're going to be taking more responsibility. You're going to be becoming possibly a little more mature about what's going on. So during this full moon phase, you want to find out what is going on in that in this phase for you specifically. So for example, the Capricorn is an earth sign that helps us become more ambitious. It's loyal, it's grounded, it's resourceful, it's consistent, it's disciplined and aligned with your goals, and it's ruled by the planet Saturn. Saturn gets a bad rep a little bit because it is Capricorn and they might be a little bit more rigid sometimes. They might be too earth and too practical sometimes, where it's all about what's working, what isn't. And but the positive thing is it really does help with manifesting your desires when you are in that, when you do have some Capricorn placements and when you have that Capricorn energy that you're feeling. So the new moon in Capricorn happens during that season, during Capricorn season. So that happened in January, and it's of course this is the 6 month cycle of now it's the full moon. So it's the full moon to reflect on those new moon intentions even back in January. So maybe in January, as a new year, you are like, I want this part of my life to change. And you maybe fell off because most people do, or maybe you've been really great and you see all of this hard work paying off and you're trying to figure out the efforts. But this is a great time as is full moon. Again, it's kind of like the ending of the cycle. So what can you reflect on from the beginning of the year? So I have a couple of questions for you, and this is from one of my emails. I do new moon and full moon emails. So I share a little bit about the sign that the new moon or full moon is in, and then I share a couple of questions to journal and reflect on as we are, having these cycles because it really does rule our life. It's every 2 weeks, the new or full moon. And every 28 days, the moon is literally changing, of course, every 2 to 3 days, but every every time the moon is changing, it's a cycle that we're receiving. It's a pattern that we're able to recognize and be aware of. So you can use these to your benefit, or you can also notice, when Capricorn moon happens, what do I feel? Am I feeling like I really want to work hard, or it's easier maybe to work harder because you're focused and you're ready to you're just feeling more ambitious. You're feeling grounded. You're feeling more practical. And, this is the time to release what is not serving you so you stay aligned on your path. So, a few questions that you can journal or just reflect on and just think on. You can, of course, come back to it. I'll put them in the show notes as well. Is that where is your energy or focus with this full moon based on your new moon intention? So, of course, if you do pay attention to the new moon or you feel it and just, maybe you just reflect back and be like, oh, that's what I was feeling. Okay, that makes sense. It was a new moon. So, allow yourself to notice that. The second question is to reflect, since that new moon in January of Capricorn, when it was in Capricorn, have you made progress? And something with the Capricorn too, you want to be brutally honest with yourself because when you have this honesty of being like, yeah, maybe I fell off or I worked about 50% of the time, but did you actually? Because Capricorn and this planet Saturn that rules Capricorn, it rewards hard work. It rewards that hard work. And yes, Capricorns work hard, but also play hard. So you need to sometimes refocus and figure that out. Where have you been? Where has your energy been on that? Another question that is great to ask during this full moon in Capricorn is where may I be sabotaging my own goals? And what do I believe that is keeping me from what I desire? So it's kind of a two-parter. Where may I be sabotaging my own goals? And from that question, what do I believe is keeping me from what I desire from the sabotaging? Is it your thoughts? Is it your habits? Is it your circle? Is it people around you? Is it your work? Is it, coworkers? Is it whatever? And yeah, maybe you're placing a little bit of blame, but noticing and becoming aware of these things is going to be really helpful to be able to move forward. Again, it's the full moon. You want to release, you want to recognize and forgive, allowing yourself to release energy that you're holding on to that isn't serving you anymore. Because that is going to allow you to attract the opportunities, attract what is actually meant for you. Last question is what can I do for my futures that my future self will appreciate? What can I release, right? Or forgive? So allow yourself to just kind of think on those or take a journal and come back to it. And I'll share really quickly what area of life that this is for you with your rising sign. So Aries rising signs, Capricorn is in your 10th house, which is of career, status, public image. And one more note about rising signs, and this is very generalized. It's whenever a lot of astrologers do horoscopes, it is based on the whole pie slice instead of having certain charts have slices that are a little bit shifted. Or for me, for example, I am a Virgo rising, but a Virgo rising at the end of the degree that is possible. It's like the almost the last degree. So when I actually a lot of where my slices end up, it's actually more alignment in the Libra rising. So I actually listen to both Virgo rising and Libra rising for a lot of horoscopes and just to understand my own knowledge because I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, that makes sense. What's in this house so I can see what area of life is actually being highlighted and shifted, or just to become aware of, with different patterns or thoughts or anything like that. So, even though I may be sharing this airy rising or whatever your rising might be, it does pertain to your specific, um, your chart because again, it could be the beginning of the degree or it could be the end of the degree. If you're in the middle, you're pretty spot on. But for me, again, mine is at the end, so I know that I look through the Libra because that's the next sign. All right, Aries rising. So Capricorn full moon is highlighting your 10th house, which is of career, status, public image. Taurus rising. This full moon in Capricorn is highlighting the ninth area, the ninth house area, which is travel, education, beliefs. And this is, of course, just a little quick snapshot. There's so many more meanings around it and that I can go deeper into, but I'm just going to give you like a little quick hit. And maybe if you guys like this episode, you guys can share and I'll go into horoscopes maybe, possibly, we'll see. But this is just kind of a little glimpse of what to expect and what to check in with. Because I think it's really important. Again, I think astrology is the cosmic weather, just like the weather of our day-to-day life. So it's really fun to know what's going on in this weather and what's going on in my own life, what's highlighted, what could I pay attention to, what do I need to shift? That way you can keep going and manifest because we're constantly manifesting. Back to it. Gemini rising, you are being affected, or Capricorn full moon is going to be in your eighth house, which is of shared resources like partner resources in a house or something like that. It's going to be an intimacy. It's also going to be the shadow birth, death and rebirth cycle. Cancer rising, you are being affected with a Capricorn full moon in the seventh house. This is a very important one. It is of relationships and partnerships. Leo rising, the Capricorn full moon is in your sixth house, which is of work, health, habits, definitely lots of health habits. So definitely recognize what you're feeling, what you need to release moving forward, because I feel like this is such a big, important area of our life as well and of our chart, because it really does challenge our day-to-day routine. Virgo rising, the Capricorn full moon is in your fifth house during this time. So notice where you're feeling of themes around romance, creativity, children, your own children. It could be your love life as well. Libra rising, the Capricorn full moon is in your fourth house, which is of home, of past wounds, past memories, family. It's also of your roots as well. So like even ancestry, generational, all that kind of stuff, past memories, all that kind of stuff. Scorpio rising, the Capricorn full moon is in the third house for you, which is of communication. It's of siblings. It's of your mindset. And it's also even like short distance travel. So any travel that's local. Sagittarius rising, Capricorn full moon is in the second house for you, which is of money, it's income, it's also self-worth and confidence. It's even a little bit of luxury, maybe even like a little bit of spending on yourself. So just notice and be aware of where that's showing up for you. Capricorn rising, of course, for you, you're Capricorn rising, so it's the first house. Capricorn full moon is in the first house, which is of identity, appearance, and your body. Aquarius rising, the full moon in Capricorn is in the 12th house, which is the area of subconscious, of rest, of solitude, maybe even meditation. Maybe you're attracted to, more meditations, more retreats right now. Pisces rising, last one. So Capricorn full moon is in the 11th house for you, which is of community, friendships, and goals. So that is the full moon in Capricorn right now. So again, this is such a great time. We're halfway through the year, we're about to enter July, and this is a great time to reflect, to release, forgive, and really notice where you are not, where you're stopping yourself and you're sabotaging yourself. Again, Capricorn is that earth and practicality. So if you feel like you're sabotaging, start to choose a small habit or small action every single day to move the needle forward, and that'll make you feel so good within the next couple weeks before this next new moon, and to really keep you on track. And then, maybe you need to like do a tracker. Capricorn really does love analyzing and charts and everything like that. So maybe you need to make yourself, get yourself a planner. Maybe you need to, like, I saw somebody have a like sticky note thing on a poster board, like be able to check it off and be able to see the progress actually in front of you. Going to be really helpful during this time for the full moon. Okay, so now we're going to get into the second part of this podcast, which we're going to dive into a little bit more about the transition. So, AKA the horoscopes, basically a part of this, because again, we have so many things to learn about astrology, and there's so many different aspects that I could keep going on and on with you about. But why this next piece is really important is because it is affecting everybody. So we have planets as well, of course, besides just the 12 zodiac signs in our chart. Like I said, they're pie slices, they're the areas of life that get highlighted. And the other piece of this is we have all of the planets in our chart. So there is quite a few planets. And we have a couple planets that are our personal planets, which are like more personal to us and more affect us. So for example, we have, of course, our sun, moon, and rising, like I mentioned to you. We also have Mercury, which is of our communication, our thought processes, all that kind of stuff, which is also a faster moving planet. We also have Venus. Venus is the planet of love and your love language and of gifts, like how you receive gifts, how you want to receive gifts, and of beauty, of luxury. It's so many different things, but your enjoyment and you're finding your joy, that is where what that planet rules for you. And then there's a couple other ones, but the one that I'm going to be talking about and the planets are going to be outer planets, is what we call them. And they are the ones that do take a little bit longer to, shift around the world, to move. And the planet I'm going to be talking about today is Jupiter. So this was a big transition if you do listen to astrology, or maybe you are going to start seeing some astrologers post about this one. This is a big shift, a big deal happening because, again, there's a lot of collective stuff going on in the world that we can't control. And there's a lot of stuff that may be shifting after this. And I listened to a specific podcast called The Astrology Lounge by Stephanie Powers. I learned a lot from her. I also love a couple other ones. If you do want me to recommend any from you, I learned a lot from them, and I just love listening to the different point of views and everything like that. So this planet, Jupiter, is moving into a new sign starting tomorrow, pretty much, or right now, depending on the world that you're in. So again, we're June 30th, 2026. It's shifting in July, and it's going to be staying there for a while because this planet stays in one sign approximately for a year. So it makes its whole way around the world, around the earth, in 12 years, approximately. So just like, for example, the sun, right? Obviously, we know all of the different birthday seasons, zodiac seasons. The sun spends almost a month in every sign. The Jupiter planet spends 1 year in each sign. So that's why it is a collective planet, because everyone kind of feels the shift, and it affects everyone differently depending on where your rising sign is, depending on what that is. And I'm going to share that at the end as well, just like I did briefly for the full moon. So when Jupiter is a planet that is basically expansion. It's a lucky planet actually. So it's one of the planets that doesn't really have like a full shadow side to it, but it also can be, of course, detrimental when you do too much. So Jupiter rules fun. It rules laughter. It loves to expand things. You become so lucky and more optimistic in this time. So this is a transition, whatever this is coming into your chart specifically in that area, things are going to shift. And of course, depending on what area of life, maybe things shift it's maybe a little bit difficult depending on what planets you have in that area too, of course, can affect it. And I'm not saying it's just going to be easy peasy this whole year that it's going to be in there, but you can expect some things to change with these themes. So when Jupiter moves into the sign Leo, Leo is a fire sign. Leo is all about the heart, it's pride, it loves to be showy, it loves to get the spotlight. It loves a little drama too, so that's also why it could bring a little drama to what's going on in your chart specifically. But this is a great reminder to really see what you could be expanding into. So it's creativity, it's entertainment, it's individual expression. It's really feeling more confident, more generous, and more willing to be in that spotlight. And of course, this transit really does favor creative projects, performances, different ventures and ideas that are going to give you that more piece. It's going to be really great for romance. And it's also going to be like a confidence and charisma that maybe you've never felt before. So you can definitely launch some creative work, stepping into some leadership, romantic grand gestures, and investing in your self-expression and really practicing that piece of your voice and allowing yourself to express in a different way. So you're really going to move through some more abundance, some creativity, some leadership, and really bring that warmth and optimistic to people around you. You also may have this confidence and faith in your own gifts and the courage. The courage is a big piece about Leos. Leos are like the lion, right? Lion has a big heart and just is so courageous and bold. So this is definitely some themes that may happen around this time. So Leo is really about letting yourself be seen and of course expanding that with Jupiter coming in. It is about remembering how fun you are, who you are. We're going to be leading by example. And of course, with this, wherever Jupiter is in your chart, expanding this Leo energy, it is going to be potential where romance and also conception, because it does rule a little bit about fertility and it also rules a little bit about the creation. So creation in general, but of course fertility with romance as well, because it is a romantic area, Leo, wherever Leo is in your chart. So you could be birthing an actual human, or you could also be birthing this idea in this next year. So definitely be aware if that is not on your bingo card for this year. Definitely be careful. But these placements and these are just reminders and places to think of. And maybe dating and romance is something that you really want to tap into. So this is a great time to do this. Or maybe you just need to remind yourself that to be more optimistic about these different things. Maybe you need to be more optimistic about yourself, feeling good about yourself in your skin, no makeup, nothing flashy. And this is going to be really helpful. Or if you do want to tap into a different style during this time, that's going to be also amazing for you, because the style of Leo can be very bold, very like unusual, very flashy sometimes. So those are definitely some themes to think about and really just check in with. So something to remind you is that, are you being brave during this time? This is going to be a lucky time, depending on what area of life, which I'm going to share in a few moments. But allow yourself to feel lucky, to feel optimistic, to expand in these kind of beliefs. And maybe you don't feel lucky. Maybe you don't feel like you are worthy of all these things, and build on that self-confidence, build on showing up for yourself, being visible, and allow yourself to expand and feel into these themes of what does it mean to feel brave? What does it mean to feel courageous? What does it mean to be on stage, whatever that stage that is? Maybe you don't feel creative. Maybe this is a time to tap into your own creativity. And a really great thing too during this time, wherever area it does come in, maybe you need to be creative about some solutions. Maybe you need to be creative about different ways to go around things. And it also could be a part where you need to have fun in this area, because Jupiter is also a little bit more of a fire element, just like Leo. So have fun, allow yourself to expand, allow yourself to be bold, and allow yourself to play just like like a kid would, how can you have more fun around it? How can you create these themes and you could allow yourself to keep yourself expanding and feeling lucky and having fun? So, we're going to get into these little mini horoscopes, which I am very excited to share because, of course, this is really my first time doing like a full little mini horoscope for you of just understanding where this is actually expanding now that you know a little bit more. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always DM me, message me, email me. I will share, of course, that information, of course, in our show notes, and of course, you can email, you can even message on our podcast because, of course, we're both looking at the messages. So let me know if you do have any questions around horoscopes or astrology or this transition going on currently. And hopefully it's resonating as well. So maybe you're picking up what I'm putting down already, which is amazing. So we're going to talk about where the Leo is in your chart specifically. And again, reminder, depending on your specific chart, it may be exactly this one that I'm sharing, or it may shift a little, just like I said, mine is. Mine is a Virgo, but is at the end of Virgo. So I do listen to both Virgo and I listen to Libra as being the next sign. So let's get into it. So Aries rising, Leo is going to be in the fifth house for you. So this transit is going to be activating your creativity, romance, and self-expression. And it's going to be, again, these themes of children and really what are you creating? What are you having fun around? Really allow yourself, because again, this is expanding exactly what Leo rules over. So you're getting this double fire energy to expand, to have fun, to build, to be bold, to be courageous. So really allow yourself. And of course, this is the dating area. So maybe you need to find a more fun way and go out and really dress up and really allow yourself to feel confident and feel really good in yourself during this time of this next year, or just like put yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit more. Maybe you do need this. Maybe you're going to feel so fired up and inspired after that. So tap into any of these themes and let me know. Taurus rising, you have Leo in the fourth house, which is the area that is going to be activating your home and family life, which Jupiter was just in Cancer, which is of the same themes. And for Cancer, some people were actually figuring out what they want to do about their home. So, maybe you want to sell. Maybe you want to expand your house. Maybe you want to make your house a really fun place, or maybe you need to have more joy in your house. So whatever that looks like for you, it's kind of this inner nourishment, your home space. Really allow yourself to have fun and be creative around that time, around this time, and you be more optimistic about your house, right? I think sometimes we forget that, when we see something every single day, whether it's our partner, or whether it's our kids, whether it's our home, and we're like, oh my God, I like just don't love it here, or you need something new. This is a great time for you to focus on how can you get creative, how can you redo something that brings a little bit more joy to you. It brings a little more fun to your day-to-day life. I think like sometimes when we put a fresh paint, in one of the rooms, or we take care of the house in a different way, or we do a little bit of redo, it really does help for us to appreciate what we actually have, and it makes it feel a little bit more fresh and fun. Gemini rising, your Leo area is going to be in the third house for you. So this transit is going to be activating your communication and even your local community, even travel for yourself. I am a Gemini sun, and also Gemini rules my 10th house, which is of career. So I love to talk. I love to share messages. So really focusing on your communication. Maybe you need to bring a little bit more fun. Maybe you need to have some childlike or maybe you need to have some conversations that are going to give you this expansion, give you this optimism. Maybe you need to be talking to people that are going to also give you some more fun conversations or feel really fulfilled after talking to them. It also rules siblings as well, and of course, your mindset as well. So, really focus on your self-confidence, really focusing on being surrounded by people that do bring that childlike energy from you. Because again, this area is of Gemini. So Gemini loves to have fun, loves to be spontaneous. So this could be activating that area for you specifically, and allow yourself to kind of, and again, I kind of want to reference for everybody that even though these themes may come through and it sounds like it's going to be easy right away, it might not be. So, for this third house and activating your communication and mindset, it might be a little hard at first, but it might be an area that you're going to feel so much more confident in a year once Jupiter shifts again. For Cancer rising, you are being activated from Jupiter and Leo in your second house. So it's activating your finances and your self-worth mostly. So finances meaning how are you earning money? How are you earning your income? And why this really ties in with your self-worth is because this house is ties to stability, it ties to resources, it ties to safety. So how are you feeling safe in yourself? How are you feeling stable in your own life? Maybe that is an income, maybe that is a job. Maybe that is just really tapping into your own self-worth. Like, how can you expand that currently and during this next year? And how can you see how that may shift for you? Bringing that childlike energy, that creative energy, that courageous, that bold energy that maybe you've never done before either. Leo rising, your Leo and Jupiter is shifting your first house. So you, out of everybody, need to listen up because this is shifting everything for you. Because again, this is the first house, which is of you. It's your identity, it's your appearance, it's your body. Leo energy times 100. So, because it's your Leo rising already, it is all about you. Bring that self-expression. It is going to be activating your identity, your personal style, your maybe you're going to be like playing with some of your style, your confidence, being in the spotlight more. It's going to even bring a little bit more like romance and creativity to your own self, whether that looks like, whether you're wanting to experience different expression, maybe you want to feel like you're more fun. You want to come back to that fun, expand and feel lucky and feel optimistic about your own self. It's going to obviously change everything for you. And of course, I do want to warn you since you do have that double Leo energy kind of coming through and expanding with Jupiter and being like more, more, more because it can never get enough, is that you do want to be careful of the drama that you may be experiencing as well. And this does some semi go to everybody because Leos love a little bit of drama, whether it is good or not. So be careful of those options. Be careful of those themes also coming up and just share with me what you're experiencing, and I can help you out with that as well. Virgo rising, let's talk about it. We are talking about Leo in Jupiter transiting your 12th house, which rules and will activate your subconscious, spirituality, and even hidden patterns. So, this is like the subconscious part of you. So, this may be a time where you're feeling a little more optimistic about being connected to spirituality. Maybe you're having dreams more, or maybe you're seeing these subconscious patterns come through and you're feeling more optimistic about releasing them. You could be also receiving or feeling these intuitive hits a little bit more, especially when you are creative in this area where you're like, I want some more solitude. I need to get into movement. So Leo is a fire sign as well. And of course, this Jupiter is going to be bringing a lot more movement and energy to you. So you might be wanting to use this energy for releasing and really checking in with yourself because it is about more alone time and solitude to recognize what you're releasing or really tap into that intuition a little bit more as well during this time. Libra rising, you are having Leo transit this Jupiter in Leo transit your 11th house, which is activating your friendships, your social circle, community, and aspiration, what also means, of course, your goals and your future goals. So maybe right now, especially for you, expanding that vision, making that big vision, which is all about what Jupiter is all about as well, and allow yourself to dream big. Allow yourself to be a part of different communities or bring yourself into a room that's going to light this fire for you and give yourself more creativity, more energy. It's going to feel much better. Of course, again, you want to be careful of a little bit of drama that may happen, or if you do, bring up something for somebody and someone doesn't like it, or there's uncomfortable conversations, but you're going to see who fits in with you in their community and who doesn't. Scorpio rising, you have this transit in your 10th house, which is another important one because the 10th house is activating your career, your public reputation, how you are seen on the outside. If you are social media, this is also that, and it's your goals as well. So, what do you want to see in a year from now? Where do you feel like your career is going? Do you want to be more, in the light, in the spotlight? Do you want to feel more confidence in yourself, be speaking up in front of people, and how do you want your career to shift in this next year? That's going to be a really big question for you. It's going to allow you to expand and feel optimistic about it and really hone in on what you're feeling creative around for your career. Maybe you come up with an idea and it just takes off and you get a promotion and you get X, Y, and Z around it. It's going to shift your whole life. So be optimistic about this, your Scorpio risings. Sagittarius rising, this transit is going to be in the ninth house for you. It's going to activate your beliefs, especially education. So, higher education, so maybe courses, college, anything that you may have felt like you want to come back to. This is a great time to look into that and to expand on it and be like, you know what, I'm going for it. Have that confidence, have that bold action, and do it. And it also rules the area that is going to be about long distance travel. So maybe you want to go to a country. Maybe that country is going to lead you to the education or to getting into yoga or getting into a different culture. It's going to really expand you and make you feel so much more confident in yourself during this time. Capricorn rising, this transit is going to be in your eighth house, which activates your shared resources. So, partners, house, understanding that area, being more creative around it. Maybe you need to budget. Maybe you don't like budgets, but being creative around it. It's going to also activate intimacy for you. So, again, finding that romance, finding that creativity around going on dates and getting yourself out there, dressing up, feeling good. And also, it is the area that is death and rebirth. So, again, this may not be the easiest transition for you, even though it's a positive transition and very positive outlook or optimistic. It may give you some of that death and rebirth cycle to clear what's not serving you, to allow yourself to transform and be amazing and much better off in a year from now once this transit ends. Aquarius rising, you are going to be feeling this transition in your seventh house, which is a really important one because it is activating your partnerships, one-on-one relationships. It's going to be who you attract. It's going to be all of these things. So whether it's romantic or not, it is an area that is super, super important because it's exactly the opposite of your first house, which is of you, your rising, your Aquarius rising. Leo is your natural opposite. So this is going to be giving you a little bit more understanding. Maybe you do want to feel more optimistic about partnerships in your life, whether that's coworkers, whether that's friends, whether that is romantic or not, or even just recognizing and feeling confident in yourself when you show up to partnerships. It is a really great time for you to review, reflect, feel confident about yourself in this way. And even allow yourself to be a little more bold in different partnerships and different one-on-one relationships, sharing exactly how you feel, allowing yourself to be self-expressive in this way. And maybe it's a different way and feels uncomfortable, but you're going to notice that this shifts so much for you down the line. Okay, Pisces rising. Last one. This transit is going to be going through the sixth house for you, which is going to be activating your daily routines, work life, and health. This is a big one because I do feel the sixth house is such an important one because day-to-day routines matter so much for a lot of us. And you kind of have to be on track or have some kind of schedule, of course, because again, when you build on these habits or when you are trying to create a life that you want and you're moving towards something, it really does happen in your day-to-day life, moving the needle forward just a little bit more. So, how can you show up for yourself and feel more confident in your own day-to-day routine? What are the habits you can build onto that? How can you expand and be more optimistic about your health? How can you feel more confident about your health or any of these areas? And I think also bringing a little more fun into it because again, this is the Leo area of your chart, which is child, which themes of creativity and fun. So you do want to bring a little fun to it. It doesn't have to be serious all the time for any of these signs, for any of these areas of life. I do feel like this is such a fun shift. And again, I think in a year from now, you're going to be like, wow, okay, that did shift. And yeah, maybe I went through it for a little bit, but again, allow yourself to be open to it. Allow yourself to be optimistic because this can be such a lucky area for you. And then hopefully you note this down, you journal about it, or you put a reminder in your phone so that way you see in a year from now what actually shifted for you, what actually changed. So, a little reflection. I know we went over a lot. Hopefully, you were taking some notes or you're going to come back to this. But we talked about a little bit of astrology today. So, what are you feeling? Do you enjoy learning about this? Do you understand the full moon and new moon and the full moon of Capricorn now for you and what that might mean? Do you understand why the shift of Jupiter moving into Leo is a big deal and it's going to create a lot of luck, a lot of confidence, a lot of creativity for you, and so many opportunities may fall into your lap unexpectedly? So I hope you got a lot from this. I hope you enjoyed learning this stuff with me. And if you do want to continue, of course, you can book with me, whether it's a birth chart reading to understand your birth chart. There is like an intro version of that, or you can book a couple of different sessions so we can really dive deep over a couple sessions with together, which I've done, and I think it really does change your life when you start to apply this daily and understand your own self because it is your blueprint from literally when you were born. So you can't go wrong with understanding it and what elements are in your chart, what planets, what signs, all of the things. I just can geek out about this, of course. And of course, reminder to review the podcast. So this is, of course, my first solo episode. So I appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Let us know in a review. Do you love this segment? Of course, Desi will be coming back for a solo episode very soon. And we just love giving this content, love sharing our world with you, love sharing our knowledge, our teachings, and real life happenings. So maybe you want to hear a little bit about some astrology and how it applies to our own life and how we work well together because I don't just do birth charts for yourself. I do birth charts as well for partners and relationships, which is called synastry reading. So I've done this for Desi before with her partner. I've done this with my partner. I've done a couple other readings where you're able to see what the other person is highlighting in your chart, how well you get along, or how to work with different things. If communication is not your thing, how can you work with something else in your chart that does work well together? So I just love astrology. I love pairing this with all of the energy stuff that we already talk about on the podcast. And I love sharing this in relatable pieces and practical pieces. So stay tuned. There will be some moon content and like a masterclass or some kind of workshop along about the moon coming up that I will be sharing and creating. So that way you can, again, kind of what I said in the full moon. I do the full moon and new moon emails. You can definitely let me know and I will get you on that list if you love what I shared. But again, the moon is really important and just knowing these different cosmic modalities, not knowing everything like I do, maybe, but understanding a little bit more really does help when you're able to use your emotional shifts in the moment and when you're able to understand the another person's moon and how that rules their own body and what their emotional language is and whether what their love language is based off of their chart. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. Review for us to win, of course, a session with both me and Desi. We would screenshot it and send it to our Instagram. And the last little announcement, I do have a program coming out. So if you aren't familiar, I do have a midweek reset free experience that I've been doing weekly. And it's shifting to just once per month, but I've created a program around it where I'm sharing some practices. I'm sharing a live weekly connection group where we're practicing and you're getting support. It's going to be really, really fun. I only have limited spots for this first round as it's a beta round and it's going to be coming out very soon. So it is evolving. I'm so excited to share this with the world. So if you are curious about this program called Instant Shift, definitely reach out to me because spots are going to go fast. And I just need to experience this with a small group of women that are ready to commit and ready to see their life shifted within 5 weeks. So I love you all. Thank you for being here. Let's manifest some luck in our areas of life where Jupiter is happening, like I shared. And I'll see you next time. Bye.